Welcome into Austin Live right here on the Fox Local app. Of course, you can join us on YouTube as well. Just go to YouTube, go to our page, Fox 7 Austin, and you can hit the live tab, watch everything that's going on. We are going to continue our breaking news coverage of a shooting that happened earlier today on the campus of a college prep school, a high school in Bulverde, Texas, just above San Antonio there. Many of you obviously have probably seen the news over the last 7 to 8 hours. After this happening around 9 a.m. this morning, I will run through just the basic details of what we know, what we've learned. We're going to have a press conference to show you from the Comal County Sheriff, Mark Reynolds. Will show that in its entirety, where he gives us some more insight to exactly what happened today. We also will have an interview that we just got about 30 minutes ago from a neighbor who lives near this college prep campus. And she was basically telling us, I didn't hear gunshots, but I did hear helicopters going overhead, wanted to know what was happening, and then she started getting updates, and she's got some really interesting insights as well. So just basic details here. We do know that there was a shooting at Hill Country Prep School in Bulverde. We know that a student, a 15-year-old male student, shot a teacher. That teacher was taken to the hospital. They are still being treated. We don't know the condition of that teacher. We do know, however, that according to the Comal County Sheriff's Office, that student, the 15-year-old, turned the gun on themselves, killing themselves. We don't know where this happened, whether that's in a classroom, in a parking lot. When we first got the update earlier, we couldn't even confirm if it was on the school campus. We did learn later on that was true, and so we've been slowly getting information as best we can, waiting until the 3 o'clock hour to get to this press conference. So we're going to show that now, just so you guys get hear it from the horse's mouth here with the Comal County Sheriff, Mark Reynolds. And he does bring up some interesting points here in terms of being asked about the firearm and how this all came to be. So we are going to play that for you guys, and then we will run through some of the details as well.
What's the deal with the little fuzzy thing?
I'm trying to turn up the volume here.
Thank you.
All right, once again, this is the Comal County Sheriff Mark Reynolds here around 3 o'clock this afternoon, giving us details on this school shooting that happened at Hill Country Prep School. The student, 15-year-old, shooting a teacher and then turning the gun on himself, killing himself.
Ready? Let's go.
All right. I'd like to welcome y'all to the Comal County Sheriff's Office, and thank y'all for all being here this afternoon. Think y'all are all aware of what happened, but we are going to take a few moments to share with you what happened and what has transpired and where things stand at the moment. So this morning, there was a school shooting that occurred at the campus of Hill Country Preparatory College in the Bulverde area of Comal County. A teacher was shot, and she has been transported to the hospital. We do not know the status of her condition at this time. The shooter, a 15-year-old male student, died at the scene. We are still working out there. It's still a live scene under investigation. And I want to be very clear, this situation was contained very, very quickly. So immediately responding deputy sheriffs with the Comal County Sheriff's Office, the Bulverde Police Department. I had phone calls from the Texas Rangers. There was a constable in the area. So there was a multiple unit response. There is no ongoing, nor was there at the time, threat to students, staff, or the public at the time of the shooting once the shooter shot themselves. Our deputies responded immediately alongside the Bulverde Police Department, Comal County Precinct 2, and other agencies, and the Rangers, the Texas Rangers, are assisting with this investigation. And I do want to say this. So when this was occurring this morning, we got multiple telephone calls from multiple agencies reaching out, offering their assistance. I got a phone call from the FBI. I know that Chief Jones got phone calls from the Rangers. I got a call from Congressman Roy asking if there was anything that we needed. And I know with everything with incidents like this that occur in the state of Texas, it's nice that you get that kind of a telephone call that asks you what you need. School was placed on lockdown right away to protect everyone on the campus, and the students were safely transported to Spring Branch Middle School. So Bulverde Middle School, and reunited with their families. So the kids are removed. There's approximately 250 kids on that particular campus. They're moved to a place of safety, and then what we have called reunification, where we put the correct child back with the correct family member. Also, I'm very proud to say this kind of response doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of training, coordination, and people who are committed to protecting this community. We showed today what preparation and commitment look like, and we will continue to stand ready for this community every single day. We have been doing these exercises in Comal ISD and NBISD for years for this kind of response. So I want to recognize every person who responded today: law enforcement, EMS, Comal ISD personnel, school staff, administrators, and all who played a role in making sure the students were safe. That's our priority one, students, faculty. They stepped into a very difficult situation and handled it with professionalism and care. But beyond this response, we need to acknowledge the human side of this. And this is our community. These are our schools, these are our students, these are our teachers, and these are all families that most of them will reside in Comal County. What happened today is something no community ever wants to face, but we prepare for something that we hope never occurs. And this was a frightening morning for many parents and families because of the number of phone calls that we got here at the sheriff's office. But I want the parents and the kinfolks of these children that were on this campus to know your kids, your children were protected and they were safe.
Oh. Looks like our video is freezing up there. I'm not quite sure why that is. I will try to get that back for you guys. Maybe I can pull this back. Once again, if you're just joining us here on Austin Live, that is Comal County Sheriff Mark Reynolds giving us an update on the deadly shooting incident earlier today in Bulverde, Texas at Hill Country College Prep. We do know that a 15-year-old male student shot a teacher on campus. We don't know exactly where this occurred. Many people were asking, okay, is this a classroom? Is this this teacher here? Are they in the class with the student? We don't have all those details. I will tell you that early on when this story first broke, we didn't even confirm if the shooting was on campus. We did learn later on that was the situation. So once again, we don't have the full details on exactly where this occurred, but we do know that after the student shot the teacher, they turned the gun on themselves, shooting and killing themselves. We don't know the condition of the teacher. We've been asked that. That's usually the first question that we've been asked. And as Mark Reynolds explains there, he doesn't have a definitive answer to say exactly what her status is other than she was taken to a hospital in San Antonio. But in terms of her actual prognosis, condition, we'll get something stable, critical, nothing of that nature. He did mention something about recovery. And so once again, I'm going to try and pull this thing up. I don't know why it froze, but sometimes that happens when you're working with this stuff here. So hopefully I can bring that back up if it comes up. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I will try and finish this interview as best we can. You're watching Austin Live right here on the Fox Local app. Welcome back into Austin Live right here on the Fox Local app. You are watching continuing coverage of the school shooting incident that happened earlier today in Comal County, happening around 9 o'clock this morning. We do have new information following that press conference about 3.5 hours ago. There's still some questions left unanswered, but just to give you guys sort of the basic details of this, a 15-year-old male student at Hill Country College Prep on campus shoots a teacher, a female teacher, and then turns the gun on himself, killing himself. I want to go back to the press conference with the Comal County Sheriff Mark Reynolds, who talks about the response, who talks about that Congressman Chip Roy reaching out to him, the FBI, the Texas Rangers. This is a multi-agency response, and he said that the response time in general was extremely quick. He didn't give an exact time on that, but obviously there's a lot of questions in terms of where did the student get the firearm, what was the motive behind this? Where did this occur? What is the status of this teacher? We know she's alive. We know she was taken to a hospital in San Antonio. We don't know much other than that. So let's listen back in to Comal County Sheriff Mark Reynolds here. I've got this back up.
250 kids on that particular campus. They're moved to a place of safety, and then what we have called reunification, where we put the correct child back with the correct family member. Also, I'm very proud to say this kind of response doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of training, coordination, and people who are committed to protecting this community. We showed today what preparation and commitment look like, and we will continue to stand ready for this community every single day. We have been doing these exercises in Comal ISD and NBISD for years for this kind of response. So I want to recognize every person who responded today: law enforcement, EMS, Comal ISD personnel, school staff, administrators, and all who played a role in making sure the students were safe. That's our priority one: students, faculty. They stepped into a very difficult situation and handled it with professionalism and care. But beyond this response, we need to acknowledge the human side of this. And this is our community. These are our schools, these are our students, these are our teachers, and these are all families that most of them will reside in Comal County. What happened today is something no community ever wants to face, but we prepare for something that we hope never occurs. And this was a frightening morning for many parents and families because of the number of phone calls that we got here at the Sheriff's Office. But I want the parents and the kinfolks of these children that were on this campus to know your kids, your children were protected and they were safe. And we will continue to have a presence as needed while we work through the next steps. This remains an active investigation as we work to understand all the circumstances surrounding what happened. And we will share additional information as it is confirmed. I also want to thank the public for your patience today. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon when we're all meeting, and this all occurred in the 9 o'clock hour. But you have to understand this morning when everything is took a while to do the reunification and take care of things what needed to be taken care of the school. But I want to thank you for relying on official information and helping us to keep rumors from spreading, because everybody in this room knows what I don't know and I don't hear officially, I make up. So thank you for taking the time to actually come and find out what actually happened. And our focus now is on supporting those affected and continuing to keep our community safe. I want everybody to know our thoughts and prayers are with the teacher and her family, as we hope that her recovery and her condition is good. This is a strong community, and we take care of each other, and we will get through this together, and we'll keep you updated as the information comes available. So I want to thank y'all for being here. And with that is our statement.
So once again, that is Comal County Sheriff Mark Reynolds there giving the opening statement regarding this shooting incident from earlier today at Hill Country College Prep. We do know a 15-year-old male student died at the scene after shooting and injuring a female teacher. We still don't know the condition of her. We don't know if they were in a classroom, a parking lot. Those are still questions left unanswered. But just to point out some of the things he said there in his statement, he did get a call from Congressman Chip Roy asking, what do you need? Is there anything we can do? He got a phone call from the FBI. He says the Texas Rangers are assisting, and all 250 students that were there, all their backpacks, any of their stuff is still on campus because this is an active crime scene, an active investigation. So they had to take all of these students and take them over to Bulverde Middle School, where there could be a reunification process with parents. Certainly a scary situation for so many parents, hearing that there's a school shooting at where their child may go to school, and then having to deal with, I've got to now show up in a reunification line to figure out what happened. So what's going to be asked here is interesting, because they're going to ask about the firearm, and then he's going to relay that into essentially, how they use that same thought process to actually speak with this student's parents who showed up at the reunification line.
Wow, I was prepared for one, so I'm sorry. I'm just going to start in the front row. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so is there any indication of the relationship between the teacher and the student? Was the teacher the student's teacher? What did she teach?
I think that's part of our investigation right now as far as what was their, your question is that, his teacher? And I think that's part of the ongoing investigation. So I don't know that we are releasing that at this present time.
Although, is there any indication of who the firearm belonged to? Was it registered? Are y'all talking to the student's parents?
So during the and I'm never one that's going to back down from a difficult question, but during the reunification process, that student's parents and kin folks were in the reunification line. And so that's partly part of our investigation, and some of the questions were asked of where the firearm came from. So at this present,
As you can see there, a valid question, trying to ask, okay, where did this firearm come from? Sheriff Mark Reynolds there kind of hesitating to answer that fully, but saying during the reunification process, the student who shot the teacher and then killed himself, his parents, and then he said kinfolks were there, and that was part of their line of questioning to say, okay, where did this firearm come from? But obviously with this being an open investigation, he doesn't want to divulge too much there. We'll continue on.
time it would be part of the open investigation. We couldn't reveal that right now. But as more information comes out, we will. So. All right. Yes, ma'am.
There was a little confusion this morning, but there were initially reports of the shooting happening near the campus, and then we learned later that it was on campus. Can you kind of speak to a little bit of that confusion?
Yes, ma'am. So the calls that came in, and there were multiple calls, and so you not only have 911, but you have people calling the Sheriff's Office Communication Center. So when you plot the address of Hill Country Preparatory College into 911, it comes back as being in the city limits of Bulverde. So you've got their responding units, but of course it's still in the county. But when you plot it in the 911 map, while the address for the driveway comes back to the city of New Braunfels, the actual school sits in the county. But you had multiple agency response. The confusion there was you have some leadership from a different agency that were on scene that were basically telling everybody we've got everything we need. So now it's in the proper hands of the proper authorities with the proper investigating agency in here, and we'll take care of everything we need and fully investigate this whole situation. Yes, ma'am.
Where did the shooting initially occur? Or was it inside the building, outside, or out on the campus?
Sorry.
We're going with on campus. Is
Yeah.
there anything over?
I don't think at this present time we want to get into the full details of like.
So once again, one of the questions there, where did this shooting take place? Is this a situation where the student is inside of a classroom and then pulls out the weapon? Did they walk into a classroom where this teacher was doing their job? Or was this somewhere else on campus, a gym, a parking lot? Once again, he's not ready to divulge all of that information.
Where everything was, but on campus. But there will be follow-up, I'm sure, after this that we can release more. Yes, ma'am.
Kind of a two-part question. Were there any warning signs that you know of with this student? And also, did this shooting happen in front of other students?
As far as the warning signs, I couldn't answer that at the present because it's something that we're talking to. I'm sure we're going to be talking to other students, talking to the faculty, we'll be talking to the family. But I will tell you that there are multiple students on campus with faculty and that's part of, I mean, this is still a live scene. You have people out there, but we're trying to collect as much information as we can from witnesses. But some of the witnesses were reunified with their families, so this will continue on.
Did the student try to shoot at others, and how did he die? How did they die?
So the student shot the teacher, and then what we believe, and we're investigating right now, but it looks as though the student turned the gun on himself and shot himself.
Immediately thereafter, or?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
We understand that there is a deputy presence at Springwood Drive. Is this related to the shooter's home, or is it being investigated in Spring Branch?
I'm going to say that as part of the ongoing investigation, I'm not going to, at this present time, I'm not going to release where the shooter lives. But yes,
We'll
probably.
take one more.
Yes, sir.
School district.
Bonded reunification.
Lieutenant? Reunification? How long did it take?
I'd say about 2 hours.
You had to move all the kids, and then you're making the notifications.
All right, so it's breaking up there. That's the last question there asked by Kamal County Sheriff Mark Reynolds. And as I mentioned, not really ready to give all the information. Some good questions there, basically asking, did this shooting take place in front of other students? You know, where did this happen? What is the condition of the teacher? Still some unanswered questions there, but our very own Angela Shen was there earlier today. I also want to show you guys a Zoom interview we just did about an hour ago with not necessarily a witness, but a woman who lives nearby in that community. She can see this high school from her home out there in the hill country. So I want to pull up that interview with her. We also, from my understanding here, have some videos that she took earlier today and was posting on social media. That's how we found her. And so here is, her name is Sean here, and I want to show you guys, this is her giving us an idea of what's going on literally right outside of her home here during this investigation following the shooting.
Everyone's wondering why I want to go to Rwanda, and am I fear-mongering, and is Rwanda going to be safe for me and my kid? Well, what doesn't happen in Rwanda is school shootings. This is my subdivision right here. We're building, beautiful place, beautiful, right? What are you looking at right here? School shooting in a private preparatory high where the extremely smart kids are. And we have to worry about there being a school shooting. Yes, it's March 28th and we have a school shooting right here. In the hill country of Texas, in the beautiful, nice neighborhood, we have $1 million homes. And the news right now, nobody's safe. Nobody's safe. Not here in the United States. We're not safe here in the United States. No matter how much you work, no matter how hard you try to be and try to live the American dream, it's always going to be something. It's always something here in this country. This school is just opened this year. Brand new school. Preparatory. The smart kids, the gifted and talented kids go here. And we got a school shooting. This is not the hood. This is not South San Antonio. This is not the ghetto. This is not black kids thugging out. School shooting with the nerds. Come on now.
That's Sean there, very passionate. Obviously, she's also a therapist, and she spoke with us just about an hour ago. So I give you that to show you at the beginning there. She said about moving to Rwanda. That's not a joke she's making. She's actually already considered this. She had already planned it. She no longer felt safe, specifically in the United States here, in Texas. She wanted to move her 2 children elsewhere, wanting to go to Africa. She said, regardless of what happened today, that's something she would have already done. But we saw that video. We reached out to her, so I'll show you now our full interview with her just about an hour ago. You're probably wondering, first and last name, how to say it.
Well, it's Sean Sinet Telepack, but please just call me Sean. Sean
That's
Telepack.
fine. Telepack.
Telepack.
Okay. And you live right there in Bulverde.
In Belle Verde, and it's called the Overlook in Johnson's Ranch. It's literally overlooking the school. The bottom of my hill. Walk to the bottom of this little hill, maybe 3 or 4 meters, and you can see the very new school right there off the hill, the bottom of the hill.
So let's go back to this morning. When were you first made aware of what was going on? What did you see? What did you hear?
Well, at first, our community is very quiet. So, other than construction noise, anything else is like alarming for us. So, I heard helicopters kind of going around. I'm like, okay, someone's riding in the helicopter. Then it happened again and it kept going around like something's going on. So, I walked outside and I saw the helicopter circling. And at the same time, I got a notification from an app called Nextdoor that there was a potential lockdown of the high school. So when it just said high school, immediately I got nervous because I have a 16-year-old son who goes to Smithson Valley High School. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on at Smithson Valley? And then I was like, wait a minute, no, there's another high school just right here. So I got into my car. It takes longer for me to walk to my driveway than to drive over there. And at the top of the hill, I can see all the police cars and the helicopters were kind of circling right there. And I was like, oh, it must be at the prep school, which is a little concerning for me because I also have a sixth grader who's in the gifted and talented program at Smithson Valley Middle. So he would matriculate right to that school. That's right around the corner. So it was a little disheartening to see that that would be, happening at a school that my son could have potentially been in.
When did you start to understand exactly what had happened in terms of the teacher? Kind of give us an idea of how the information was coming into you and how you reacted to that.
Well, we have a very active Nextdoor app, and so as I was watching, I was getting notifications like every 2 minutes that it's a school shooting. Then it's not an active shooter. It is an active shooter. The school's on lockdown. What's happening with all the kids? What's happening with the middle school and Smithson Valley High? And then that's when I kind of started getting calls from friends. I'm like the only one of the friend group that live out here. Most people live down in San Antonio. And they were like, is that your school? Is that your son's school? And I was like, no, it's not Smithson Valley. It's the prep school, which is kind of concerning because those are supposed to be quote unquote the good kids, the kids that don't make trouble, the ones that are school focused is a college prep. And so I went online like most people and started following the actual news feeds from San Antonio that was coming in like 30 to 45 minutes after I was getting things from Nextdoor and the parents who were like boots on ground actually going to Belle Verde to go pick up their kids. The Belle Verde Middle School, which is maybe 5 minutes the other direction, because that's where they were doing the re-notification of the kids there. And that's when I noticed and started saying it was a school shooting. And I was like, oh my gosh, I hope it's not a lot. And then it was like, oh, it's just a teacher, one teacher, and then one child. And then we got the notification 30 minutes later that the shooter had passed away and that we don't know what the update of the teacher is. So that's kind of how I got most of my information from Nextdoor or the news or friends in the community.
Do you have any friends or do you know any people in your neighborhood that have a student at that prep school?
No, I do not. Because my oldest goes to Smithson Valley, most kids would prefer, you have to really be exceptional to get into the college prep, the new college prep school that's only been open like a year or two. Most of the parents here that are in high school, middle school, they want to go to Smithson Valley. It's the school that all the kids from Belle Verde and Comal, they all matriculate right into Smithson Valley. So it's not like the kids just want to go to. So not very many.
As a mother, how disheartening is it to once again hear about another school shooting? It seems like this just happens all the time now.
It's getting to the point where I don't know how much Carly told you about how we met in my actual feed, that I decided last year that my kids and I, we're not staying here. We can't live in a place where gun violence is, and where I can hear about a school shooting and not cry and not have a feeling about it. And being a therapist, a psychotherapist that works with kids, that specializes in mental health, knowing that it's so difficult to get kids, not not just kids, but adults, the mental health that they need and the care that they need, and how difficult it is, and how short the field is, and how the income and the pay for the providers are. I can't do it anymore. So my children and I are leaving the country. This is and this is not like, oh, just thinking about it. Literally, the house goes on the market next week, and we are gone the 1st of June. I've bought our one-way tickets to a small country in East Africa called Rwanda, so that primarily so that my kids can be safe. They don't have school shootings, they don't have gun violence, they don't have these issues that we continuously have that we do nothing about on both sides of the aisle. So yeah, we're gone.
So regardless of what had happened today, this is something you were doing anyway. This is just another
Validation.
aspect. It's reaffirming what you have been thinking.
Yes, just another validation of it. It's been steadily happening. And when I, as a professional, don't have a visceral reaction to hearing a school shooting that's right around the corner, that tells me that my body has gotten used to it, to that trauma and to that pain, and it's just over and over and over again, and nothing's changing. So I made sure that when I decided that I wanted what's best for my children, I made sure I picked a place that guns are not the norm. You're not allowed to have guns. You know, they're not something that's common in the home. Mental health and healthcare is important to the government and the community, and they allow for people to get that. So I think it's a kind of a two-pronged approach: not having access to the instrument that causes it, and then providing the care that the people who may want to use it has access to it.
Um, when you hear that the student turned the gun on themselves and killed themselves, as a therapist, as a mother, what is your reaction to that?
My heart breaks. My heart breaks, because that's the end. Now there's no reconciling. There's no fixing what the issue and the concerns were. There's no knowing for the parents. There's no closure for the school. There's no explanation for their classmates. And I really feel for the parents now, because that's something that baby, because he's a baby, she's a baby, they're a baby, um, doesn't understand. Their brains are not developed enough to understand that there is a tomorrow, there's another way, there's another resolution, there's a solution, there's help. The parents do. And so they're going to have to live with this for the rest of their lives. The friends are going to have to live with knowing this for the rest of their lives. And the principal is going to have to live with this. The community is going to have this. You can't take this away. You can't erase this from this very small, loving, beautiful community. It's a stain that the world will know us as. You know, most people don't know where Belle Verde, Texas is, but when they do and they Google it, this is what they'll see of us. And I don't think this is a fair representation of how we love and treat our children here in this community.
I don't know if you mentioned this in the very beginning, but just to reiterate, you didn't hear anything. Gunshots, correct?
No, no. We live on the hill, so it's
Yeah.
the way that we live on the overlook. If you're
Mhm.
thinking about it as far as terrain, it goes down into the valley. Mustang Vista is here, and then the high school is like right here. You can see it, but of course, if it's inside the school, the shots are not going to ring where we're going to be able to hear it over here. But I did hear the helicopters, and that's what kind of alerted everyone, because it's an extremely quiet community, other than the construction, because it's a new development. Anything out of the ordinary, we're going to notice.
Well, Sean, we really appreciate the time. I know, obviously, you have to talk to your kids and deal with other things in the neighborhood, but we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, thank you for asking, and I hope this is the last time you'll have a conversation about school shootings in Texas.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it. That was Sean Telepak there speaking with us just about an hour ago. She obviously did not hear the gunshots. I don't know how many there were. We do know for sure there were two, with the teacher being shot and the student turning the gun on himself and shooting himself. But she didn't say she heard that, but she started to hear a helicopter overhead, and then she was getting notifications, all through next door, and then she realized just the seriousness of the situation, and she was very upset about that. because she felt, here I am in this nice neighborhood, trying to build a nice life for myself. There's this beautiful new school they built down here in Bulverde, and something like this happening. So her message being, even if you think you might be safe, we just see so many of these violent school shootings, and she was very upset about that, very emotional about that. I think this is the view from her neighborhood here. So I mean, she's close.
Many school shootings, and this is not in South San Antonio. This is not where the black and brown kids are. This is a preparatory school. Brand new, is only a year old. A preparatory. Look at the homes. You have $1 million homes out here. This is my neighborhood. This is literally not walking distance. This is the school that my kid would be going to. This is the high school that my baby will be going to. Right here, look at this. Beautiful, right? Scenic. School shooting.
And Sean was saying that her younger child would, in fact, probably go to that school if they were to stay on that path and get in there. And obviously a concern to her. She felt like moving to this neighborhood was very safe, very nice. And here's this great college prep school right there. And unfortunately, this is the news she has to deal with some of her other neighbors. We'll try to provide you guys with any more updates as they come in. We've got some cameras in other spots around the country as well. So we'll check in with some of those other stories. You're watching Austin Live right here on the Fox Local app. Welcome back into Austin Live right here on the Fox Local app. You can, of course, follow us on YouTube as well. Just go to our page, Fox 7 Austin, hit the live tab. You can watch us there. You can also rewatch episodes as well. For the past 40 minutes, we've been following this deadly shooting incident happening in Bulverde in Comal County. We heard from the Comal County Sheriff, Mark Reynolds, talking about this. I'll just sort of run through some of the details we have, but I do have a very interesting shot of a semi-truck that has crashed into a home from what it appears like from our sister station in San Francisco. But just to run through this once more, 15-year-old male student died at the scene, shot a female teacher, injured her. She was taken to a hospital in San Antonio. We don't know her condition. The sheriff said the situation was contained quickly. A multi-unit response. Texas Rangers are assisting in terms of where this male student got the firearm. We don't know that, but we do know that during the reunification process at Bulverde Middle School, the kids' parents, the students' parents, were in line. So they obviously didn't know what had happened. They were questioned about this firearm. We don't know where this firearm came from, but an open investigation. All of the materials from all 250 of those students still on campus as they deal with all that. If anything changes, we will, of course, update you. But I do want to take a live look right now. This a chopper cam right here of a semi-truck that has crashed into what looks like the backyard of a home. This is in Crockett, California. This is in the East Bay area above San Francisco, a little bit north of Walnut Creek, just south of Vallejo. It says here from our sister station, KTVU, that's Fox 2, they say a semi-truck involved in a crash in Crockett remains at the scene where it narrowly missed crashing into a home, as you can see right there. What we know so far, Sky Fox, which is right there, flew above the crash at Johnson Street and Columbus Avenue as California Highway Patrol officers, deputies with the Sheriff's Office, and the Crockett Fire Department responded to the scene. The fire department said CHP is the lead agency in this investigation. They go on to say it is not clear if anyone was injured in what appears to be a crash involving 3 total vehicles. The other vehicles appeared to be a white Ford pickup truck and another white vehicle. I'm trying to see if we can see that there. I don't know how that truck would get around that bend, to be quite honest with you, which it makes total sense why it would have crashed. I mean, I don't know if they've done that route before, but look how tight that turn is there. It says the other vehicles appear to be, I already went through that. According to the information from CHP, the semi-truck collided into a fire hydrant around 3 p.m. This is in an area where the road winds into a hairpin turn, as you can see right there. So if that's 3 p.m. Pacific, we're probably talking 5 p.m. here Central. The semi-truck's cab was seen hanging over an embankment of landscape property while most of the trailer remained on the road at an awkward angle, as you guys can see right there. Look how close that thing comes to crashing into that home, which doesn't even look as though it is that a fully built home? Is this I'm not quite sure, to be quite honest with you. It looks as though maybe it's new. I don't know. They said they went to send a crew to the scene to gather more information on what happens. They will keep us updated on this developing story. So obviously quite a scene there in Crockett, California. This is just north of the East Bay area, a place Walnut Creek. So if you just go up towards San Francisco, head east, move a little bit north as well, northeast I should say, and then this is just south of Vallejo. And as you can see there, this route has that hairpin turn, and with that semi-truck being the length that it is, I would be shocked if it could make it around that bend there. So we don't know of any injuries. We just know that 3 vehicles were involved, the other being a white Ford pickup truck and another white vehicle. We also have another camera looking at Artemis 2, the NASA mission, which is expected to go around the moon. Been a long time since we've been there. This is not going to land on the moon, but it does plan to go around it. And according to one of our producers here saying, if it completes this mission, this would be the furthest a human has gone in terms of heading towards the moon there. So obviously we've had Apollo missions that have landed on the moon successfully. It's been a long time since we've been there. We were looking at this Artemis 2 mission on a night where it was supposed to do a test launch, and they had to scrap the whole thing because they had some technical issues, but it looks as though they are ready to go by, I believe, Wednesday, and hopefully we could bring you that when it actually happens. Anyway, going back to the semi-truck here, you can see CHP on scene. This is in the Bay Area, just northeast of San Francisco, kind of towards Walnut Creek or Vallejo, if you know where that is. You can see that semi-truck almost crashing into the back of that home there. Three vehicles total involved. They got a white Ford pickup truck and another white vehicle. I don't see either of those other 2 vehicles, to be quite honest. It looks as though they have a tow truck there. I imagine they are trying to pull this semi-truck out of there. And thank goodness it didn't hit that home. I don't know if anybody was there, but our chopper, this is Sky Fox here, flying above that crash at Johnson Street and Columbus Avenue. CHP on the scene. If there's a crew that gets out there in time, maybe we can shoot it out to them, but they'd have to do that within the next 15 minutes or so. We're going to take another break and try and wrap things up here with this deadly school shooting. I shouldn't say not a mass shooting, just a shooting involving one teacher and one student. And then we will check in on the Artemis 2 mission as well. You're watching Austin Live right here on the Fox Local app. Welcome back into Austin Live right here from the Fox 7 Austin newsroom, watching us on the Fox Local app. You can, of course, scan the QR code right there on your screen to get involved with any and all conversations. Leave us a comment, leave us a video, picture, anything involving Central Texas here. Now, you're probably wondering, what am I looking at here? This is not in Texas. This is in the San Francisco area, about the Northeast Bay Area, if you will. That is a semi-truck that has crashed in Crockett, California. This is from our Sky Fox team out there, and Fox 2, KTVU, our sister station in San Francisco, sending a team out there to respond to this, to try and gather more information. Quite the scene, obviously. We don't know of any injuries. We do know that there were 3 total vehicles involved. We don't see the other 2 vehicles, but I do see what looks like a tow truck there, and I would assume trying to pull that semi-truck back up and coming very close, obviously, to that home there, and it just narrowly misses crashing into the back of that home. So I don't know if there's any details on the driver of that semi-truck, but quite the scene out there, obviously. And then this is another look at, ooh, they lit that up a little bit better. So this is the Artemis 2 mission, and they held a press conference earlier today, and so this is starting to gain some, I think, more interest. I think a lot of us got maybe bored of these space missions. I'm not quite sure. I find it interesting. It says Artemis 2 builds on the success of the uncrewed Artemis 1 in 2022 and will demonstrate a broad range of capabilities needed on deep space missions. The Artemis 2 test flight will be NASA's first mission with crew aboard the SLS, that is the Space Launch System rocket, and Orion spacecraft. So they are expected to take off pretty soon here, and they got a crew of 4, and they expect this mission to be 10 days long. They are going to go around the moon. They are not going to land on it, and I think a lot of people are excited. I think this is a step in the direction of people who may have missed these sort of moon missions, have missed NASA and the space program, but I think for a while there, and we were talking about this earlier, whether it be the failures of the space shuttle, obviously the horrific incident with the Challenger back in the 80s, maybe just thinking, is this worth it? But it would appear now they do want to get back there, and they are doing everything they can to get this mission to go on time. So here's some pictures of the astronauts here. So quite a crew there. And I think it's going to be an exciting time for people that are certainly into this type of thing. And once again, oh, they finally got rid of the other feed. We showed you a semi-truck that had crashed from our Skyfox camera, but we took that away. So this is a little bit more positive, something that I think can certainly be exciting. And I think a lot of us will be watching. I believe we can expect that on Wednesday. So this is from NASA earlier today. They said ahead of call to stations at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time today, the countdown clock beginning at 4:44 p.m., engineers continue preps toward the launch of the Artemis II mission from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The agency is targeting no earlier than Wednesday, April 1st for launch. April Fools for a launch date. How about that? The weather forecast shows an 80% chance of favorable weather conditions with cloud coverage and potential for high winds on the ground as primary weather concerns. They say teams will continue to monitor the weather in the coming days. At 5 o'clock, we saw NASA hosting a news conference to provide a status update on the mission. And we heard from them earlier. And then we've just got some images here, as you can see, of what I just shown you. But this is earlier today. Pretty exciting. So I think there's a lot of people out there ready for this thing to roll. We're going to take one final break. When we come back, we will try and wrap up everything as best we can. You're watching Austin Live right here on the Fox Local app. Welcome back into Austin Live right here on the Fox Local app. We are only got about 2 minutes left in the show here, but obviously wanted to go back to our top story just before we get out of here. If you want to read all the information on it and the latest updates, just go to our website, fox7austin.com. We have updated this throughout the day to give you guys the best information possible. A lot of that new information coming from the press conference that occurred at 3 o'clock, and we heard from Comal County Sheriff Mark Reynolds giving us details on what exactly occurred. If you don't know what has happened, a student at a high school in Bulverde shot a teacher and then shot himself, killing himself. We do not know the condition of that teacher. We do know she was taken to a hospital in San Antonio. Sheriff Reynolds was asked about her condition, where she was shot. He was not able to give us those details. He was also asked about where this 15-year-old student was able to get that firearm. He could not answer that. But as I've mentioned over and over, a very interesting part of all of this and understanding the story is that during the reunification process, where they took all of these students from this college prep school, Hill Country College Prep, took them to Bulverde Middle School to be reunited with their parents, that his parents, his relatives, were there at the reunification area. So obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but it would appear they had no idea of what had happened, and getting there, going to the reunification area and finding out that your son is the one behind all of this and the very reason that you were at that reunification area. It's still a live scene. It's still being investigated. All 250 students taken out of there, all of their belongings left there for this investigation. We know it's a multi-unit response. We've got the FBI involved, the Texas Rangers, and so hopefully we'll get some sort of update here on exactly what the condition of this teacher is. It would appear, based on what the sheriff said, she is in the recovery phase. So I hope that that is a positive sign. Once again, you're watching Austin Live right here on the Fox Local app. We will continue this coverage tomorrow if we have any updates. You can always follow us at our website, fox7austin.com, and all of our social media, Fox7 Austin.